Hey gamers, it's me Alistair from Game Crusher TV, and today I wanted to talk to you about the Microsoft Xbox One launch. Now that E3 is come and gone, and it's now old news, there was a point that I wanted to bring up about the Microsoft Xbox launch. Not the reveal and not any of the E3 announcements, but the actual launch itself. The Xbox One is scheduled to launch in 21 different countries around the world, which is pretty normal. I mean, iPods and iPhones and various other consumer electronics, these things all launch in a specific set of countries at the beginning because it's very difficult to distribute, any larger than, say, a dozen or a couple dozen countries. So 21 countries for the Xbox One initial launch makes a lot of sense. What doesn't make sense is a little decision that Microsoft made. And this decision is that the Xbox One cannot connect to the Xbox Live service if it's not in one of those 21 countries. So essentially what that means is if you don't live in the country that the Xbox One is initially launching in, that means you won't be able to use your Xbox One even if you bring it from one of the 21 countries to anywhere else in the world. It won't connect to the Xbox Live. And of course, if you can't connect to the Xbox Live, for neither love nor money, you can't play your games because it has to connect to Xbox Live every 24 hours. So yes, this has been talked about before, and a lot of people are giving Microsoft a little bit of flack for it, and rightly so. This is kind of a strange thing to do. What hasn't been done, or at least what I haven't found, is somebody who's thrown together a couple of numbers to actually really give a clear understanding of what that means. 21 countries. How many countries are there in the world? Well, according to Wikipedia, there are 195 or 196. It's debatable. Some people count city-states like Monaco and the Vatican as countries, some people don't, but regardless, say there's 195 countries. 21 out of 195, that's just under 11% of the world's countries. So 11% of the nations of the world will be able to have access to the Xbox One, which means essentially 89% of the world's countries won't have access to the Xbox One. So now some countries are big, some countries are small, so let's look at those numbers a little bit further. I went online, I looked at the 2011 statistics from Wikipedia to find out what are the populations of these countries. So I tallied them up, and of the 21 countries that the Xbox One is shipping to, and that list can be found anywhere online, it's quite common, there are about 1.1 billion people in those 21 countries. The world has a little over 7 billion people. So what that means is only 1 in 7 of the world's population are able to buy an Xbox One. So if you compare the Xbox 360 to the Xbox One, the 360 could work anywhere in the world. I mean, maybe you won't be able to play it online if you're in, say, Yemen, if you can't get online. But at least in Yemen, you could have the Xbox One, you could plug it into electricity, turn it on and play offline whatever video game that you want. But since Yemen isn't on the list of 21 countries, they won't even be able to do that. So what are some of the more notable countries that are missing from this list? Well, for one, we have China, we have India, which are two of the largest countries in the world and the fastest growing in the development side of things. We're also missing Malaysia, Hong Kong. We're missing essentially all of South America minus Brazil. Nowhere in the Caribbean is represented. Most of Eastern Europe is not represented. The entire continent of Africa isn't there. Most of Central America minus Mexico isn't there. And since Australia is kind of its own continent, and I'm not 100% sure about New Zealand, I think that essentially means that the entirety of Asia really isn't there. And I don't really like to get into the whole stereotype thing, but I mean, we all know Asians like to play video games. So what gives Microsoft? Why the limitations? Like, why not just launch it across the world and say, if you can connect onto the internet, if your connection's fast enough, then you got Xbox Live, which you need to connect to every 24 hours. Why limit that further to only 21 countries? That doesn't make any sense. It's almost as if they're deliberately trying to lose money. I mean, we know that Phil Harrison used to work for Sony, now he's working for Microsoft. I mean, maybe Sony sent him as like a double agent to take Microsoft down from within. I mean, huge conspiracy theory here. Not that really that would be true, or is it? Maybe? No, that's ridiculous. If I had to venture a guess as to why they're actually limiting it to those 21 countries, obviously it has nothing to do with broadband capability because much of Asia has better broadband capability than most of North America. That's a fact, most people know this. What I think it boils down to is that these 21 countries have laws that support Microsoft's draconian DRM policies and used game policy. Maybe Microsoft is working on getting more countries added to this list, but if it is something to do with DRM and intellectual property law in these countries, and some countries have flat out told Microsoft that they can't enforce this DRM policy, does that mean that they won't ever be able to sell in that country? Or does that mean that they're going to possibly change their mind and just drop this whole stupid thing entirely? That would be kind of cool. That would be good for the gaming industry. Microsoft and the Xbox One failing as a console would be very bad for the industry. It would lower the competition, Sony would be able to sit on their haunches, do whatever they want, and just stop innovating because Microsoft is not a contender anymore. Nobody wants that. We all want the Xbox One to do well. We all want the PlayStation 4 to do well. It'd be very nice if the Wii U could catch up and do well as well. So I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see in the next few months between now and November. Maybe other pieces of information will come to light. Maybe that list of 21 countries will grow. Maybe this whole thing will just disappear like a bad dream when we wake up in the morning. Who knows? Anyway, thanks a lot for watching. If you like my video, please subscribe. Also check out GameCrusher.tv for more videos from me and my partners. You can check us out at Facebook or Twitter.com/GameCrusherTV, or you can check me out on Twitter at AlistairVFR. So thanks again for watching, and have yourselves a great day, or night, or morning, or whatever time it is. Have a great one of those.